Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's meeting. It's a webinar on transforming operations to digital, and we're really talking about the SAP Asset Information Workbench, and that's a new product that just came out from our strategic partner, Utopia. My name is Mark Pyatt. I'm with the Global Oil and Gas Practice, the Operational Excellence Lead for the IBU, and Mike Jordan will be speaking to you guys today about the solution that they've been working on and building, and it's rolled out already, ready to go. And so we're really pleased to give you this overview today. So thank you very much for attending and being with us today. We appreciate it very much. And if there's any follow-ups we can do with you afterwards, please email me. We'll be happy to follow up and give you more details on the solution. But hopefully today's session you'll hear quite a bit from Mike. So Mike, you want to go to the next slide, please? So in today's session, we're going to really just talk about, I'm going to give you a brief introduction, show you how where Asset Information Workbench fits in the overall scheme of operational integrity. And then we're going to talk, I'm going to turn it over to Mike and let Mike give an overview, and then we'll have some time at the end for questions. So Mike, next. So really, as you're looking at, digital transformation, a lot of initiatives are out there. People are working on this every day. We're trying to work with our customers, you guys, on transformation, but it really involves more than just application software. It's really around the people and the processes that are used in plants and facilities, as well as rig operations and upstream. It's about data, looking at the data silos that you want to add and you want to manage and try and integrate, and then looking at the existing processes. And obviously, these things all have to work together in orchestration, and lots of times it isn't easy. But what's happening with your peers that are actually tackling this today is that they're integrating these three processes together to orchestrate change in their companies. And so they're looking at starting with different plants or key regions of their operation to start with, and then evolving that as time goes on. So it's a way of approaching the issue to look at the broader context of how you transform and utilize new technology as well as integration capabilities with platforms to really facilitate process. And so that's what we're going to hear a little bit about today. Next slide, Mike, please. And we're going to be focusing on the key area in the middle here, which is data and equipment, and really looking at data primarily and how the Asset Information Workbench helps facilitate the integration of key data sources for you to really drive and improve decision making at the point of work execution. Okay, next slide. So within the operational integrity offering, then, Asset Information Workbench is part of the asset management area to the lower right-hand corner of this picture. It's an extension that integrates with plant maintenance, as well as master data governance from SAP, as well as the Asset Intelligence Network. And so it's purposely created to facilitate interaction between those major products from SAP to really, again, build out the asset management suite to facilitate improved decision-making, work order processes, as well as access to engineering data that'll be integrated in with this tool. So just trying to give you a context for understanding where this solution fits in our overall suite of products. So it's in the asset management area. Mike, next slide. One of the key reasons for this solution, and it's obviously important, is that there's a lot of rework that takes place. Engineers spend half their time trying to get data in the right format to transfer it to a solution to utilize it. So what we're trying to do is use technology applications to facilitate information sharing and enablement within the enterprise. And so as we go through this transformation as an industry, different tools are available to you. And so SAP is working to embed more intelligence in our application software suite to help you do that, help you accomplish that. And so that's the reason why the Asset Information Workbench actually has been developed and exists. And so I'll let Mike tell you a bit more about it today, but I don't have to point out that this is, that the waste of time for engineers is NPT for me. It's non-productive time. We're trying to help reduce that so that they can be more productive and actually utilize information to drive and improve decision making. Mike, next slide. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Utopia. Utopia, go to the next slide, please, too, Mike. Utopia is a strategic partner of ours. They've been a partner of ours for last, 7 or 8 years. They've been building application software products for us and with us, and they're a preferred partner. They work with across these key markets and industries and utilities and oil and gas, chemicals. Oil and gas has been one of the leading industries working with Utopia to help develop these solutions, and thank you to all of you who've invested with Utopia and SAP to help us develop these different solutions within the suite. So they're very much aligned and with our development team in Germany. We know each other on a first name basis and have for years. But really, we're looking at services around data quality, cleansing, creating data strategy, and governance and migration capabilities. And so Utopia specializes in doing all those things and has been, like I said, a strategic partner to us, basically because we needed the extra help in building product out. We don't have enough people in development in Germany to facilitate this, so they have this area of expertise. And so they were brought in years ago to help us facilitate this. So Mike, Jordan, I'm going to let you take over now, but Mike's been working with Mike for about 6 or 7 years, and he's a key part of our team. So please welcome Mike Jordan, and he'll finish out the presentation, and we'll take questions at the end. Thank you again for your attendance. Mike, go ahead.
That's perfect. Thanks, Mark. As we look at the challenges of asset information in organizations like yours, the challenge begins with the fact that your assets change almost on a daily basis due to break-fix maintenance, due to planned maintenance, due to capital projects, shutdowns, turnarounds. And as those assets change, we must keep the data right in our systems of record. So that drives a strategy that really sits in 3 parts as Utopia partners with your organizations to address the problem. In the build phase, we begin with you to drive out idealized taxonomies, data structures based on standards like ISO 14224, 15926. From there, we'll partner with you to do remediation, to fix the data, to get the data aligned with the standards and enriched and complete so that you can have the best available asset information to drive your decisions. But importantly, given that your assets continually change, it's not good enough just to get the data right, because we've got to keep it right. That's where the SAP software solutions come to bear, is the tools that allow you to build configuration control, change management into that data so that as your assets change, the data regarding those assets also change, and not just in the SAP environment, but in all the other systems of record. That business problem is described in industry today as maintaining a digital twin. And the business drivers for that are the ones you know well, reducing EH&S risk, improving operational performance, and maintaining regulatory compliance. Synchronization of that ever-changing asset with the digital twin and plant maintenance is where the problem starts. But it's not just that. Basically, everything we aspire to put in plant maintenance begins life as a document. So it's governing that unstructured data. And as the assets change, we have to maintain coordination with the operating manuals, the repair manuals, the engineering documents and drawings reflecting that asset, so that we have data in the maintenance system and the supporting content in the unstructured data. But the challenge goes further, because that same asset is reflected in other key systems of record. If you're doing transmission distribution work, it's likely that asset's in a GIS. It might reside in an engineering system, a reliability system, a SCADA system, and really more important than to speak to systems, we're talking about your organizations. So critical that your maintenance guys are thinking of the same asset as your engineering guys, as your reliability guys, as your operational guys. So when they address an asset, their source systems reflect the same base data about that asset. SAP is leading the charge in that, and the conversation about that business problem is described as the network of digital twins. That's what SAP is addressing with this solution suite, and this is where Utopia is part of the SAP team to address that problem. When we speak to the business case, it begins, as I said, a direct impact on EH&S risk, operational performance, maintaining regulatory compliance. There are a few particular times where that business impact is significant. There's a study you've likely seen. It's been well broadly published by EPRI. The Electric Power Research Institute did a survey across asset-intensive industries in North America, found on average maintenance workers are doing productive maintenance work 40% of the time. They call it wrench time. And the block of time that's bigger than that wrench time is the amount of time that maintenance workers spend looking for the parts and information to do that job. Mark commented on this in his slides up front. So improving maintenance wrench time is one of the large business drivers for getting the master data right. Operational inefficiency, you can also call that asset availability, is the next big area. If the maintenance guy can't get everything done, he's going to fix what's broken, but he might not get to the inspections. He might not get to the PMs. If he doesn't have the right spare parts, your equipment breaks more often and the time to repair increases. So asset availability is directly impacted by master data quality. MRO supply chain is another area, and it frankly is just human nature. If a maintenance guy doesn't know what to expect, he's wholly measured on fixing what's broken, so it's human nature. He'll tuck away one of every spare part he might possibly need. And over time, that can just balloon. We've had organizations justify the entire investment in addressing this problem just by reducing obsolete inventory. And if you don't focus on an end-to-end challenge, you might know perfectly well what you have in your MRO stores, but you can't know what you need to have in your stores. So MRO supply chain is addressed by this SAP solution so that you should be able to walk into any MRO store, pick up anything on a shelf, and say, where is this used and when will I need it next? EH&S risk, as you look across industries at any incident where people have been hurt, things have been broken, what you find is good-hearted, hardworking people making decisions on bad information. Auditability, that can be regulatory compliance in some industries, some markets, and whether it's a regulation or not, it makes sense to say, particularly for safety-critical equipment, I'm not happy to just have stuff in SAP. I want to have an audit trail that allows me to touch any bit of equipment in a system of record and say, how do I know that data's right? And what's my proof case? The SAP solution has been called compliance in a box because it builds that audit trail. And then finally, operational excellence. Everything we aspire to do, all the cool stuff that is possible with solutions like S/4HANA, reliability-centered maintenance, risk-based inspection, performance analytics, all fundamentally depends on a level of confidence that the asset that you think is over there is the one that's really there. And in the SAP world, this is addressed by the IoT initiative, by Leonardo. At the asset end of things, it builds upon SAP plant maintenance. And then there's a suite of solutions from SAP that are purpose-built to address this problem in all its complexity. Structured data, unstructured data, multiple systems of record, and we'll cover how these solutions fit together a bit today. It begins with SAP's Master Data Governance for EAM. And then Asset Information Workbench is tightly coupled to fit on top of that. And the solution set governs everything necessary for asset master data. And it's a meaty set of data required: functional locations, equipment masters, bills of material, maintenance plans, task lists, measuring points. The solution is designed to govern all of these information objects. And MDG is the process-centric tool that does that. It's fundamentally a workflow-driven product. It's configured with the business processes designed based upon your best practices and your processes. So the culture change that happens to deploy master data governance is organizations will have to change their way of thinking from an environment where everybody can just go change what they want. And I'm an old maintenance guy. Frankly, I think we're probably the worst. It's my asset. I'm going to call it what I want to is maybe the way we started. But building the standards, the data structures, the taxonomies, standard business processes, standard data structures requires that you move that ability to change everything from everybody into a small group of folks that can maintain the standards, into a group of data stewards, and then everyone else has the ability not to change things but to request a change. Frankly, they get simpler screens to request a change to data, and then it's routed to the stakeholders through the subject matter experts, through the validation rules to get the data right, and then replicate it not just to SAP but to the other systems of record. MDG is purpose-built for this. It sits directly atop your ECC environment. It inherits your data structures, your business rules, your naming conventions, your pick lists, and it's designed to put the data right in SAP and the other systems of record. MDG has the business rules built in so that we can automatically eliminate the possibility of dupes, ensure that descriptions are standardized, normalized, and the user interface is configurable so that you only provide the data needed for a given screen. It's routed to the user as desired, and the business rules ensure that each step has the data loaded as it should be. Asset Information Workbench is the newest part of the family. This is what we wanted to get to today. The Workbench sits directly atop MDG, built in Fiori and purpose-built to address the complexity of asset master data. MDG allows you to address all of the objects associated with the asset, functional locations, equipments, and I told you the list a moment ago. But ideally, an asset master data manager doesn't want to just deal with flocks. He wants to deal with a hierarchy. And this is what the Workbench allows you to do in a visual staging area, address the entire hierarchy as it's designed in your organization. So we're looking at the hierarchy not in the operating system, but in the Workbench staging area. From there, you can do things like cut and paste, like drag and drop, and manipulate the data as you would have it done, working across all of the EAM objects at the same time in an intelligent hierarchy viewer. The Workbench allows you to do things like develop your best practice reference library. So it allows you to do things like you can develop business rules that say, if I have this type of equipment and this class of service, I always want to use this maintenance plan. I always want to use this task list. I always want to use this hierarchy for the for classes of equipment. You build those standards, your standards, put them in your best practice library, and then the Workbench ensures that they are applied uniformly across your organization. And it's replicated in plant maintenance, and then its appropriate data is replicated into all the other systems of record. Asset Intelligence Network is integrated tightly with the Workbench. You may have heard a bit about
Mike,
the AIN before. I'll show you.
Mike, excuse me, we don't see your slides anymore.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Okay, let's fix that. There we go. Is it back?
Yeah, it's coming back up. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Okay, so Asset Intelligence Network integrates tightly with the Workbench so that this provides the portal for all things outside of your organization and an easy, standard ability to access information from engineering construction companies, from manufacturers, from suppliers, and from third-party sources, so you can readily share asset information and get enriched data about your assets into the environment. I'll show you in a moment how AIN fits into that environment. AIN makes available libraries from manufacturers' catalogs and from third-party libraries. And one aspect of the solution available to you, Utopia, is just announcing the largest third-party library. In the services side of our business, we've done data enrichment for 15 years in organizations like yours. So we've got a library of ISO 14224 standardized data records for over 5 million equipments. We're putting the first 500,000 of those equipments available in an AIN library. So now AIN is useful not just for new equipment, but for brownfield assets as well. As Utopia does this work, we consult with your organizations, and we can do data enrichment projects even if your equipment is not in the AIN library today. We can start with your engineering drawings, do engineering drawing takeoffs, and build out the data in AIN. We can do plant walkdowns as the start to get your data right. And from whatever means, we begin with a brass tag, an equipment manufacturer model number, and then we use our offshore organization to do what we call our 4 C's process: cleanse, create, consolidate, classify, to build out standard asset master data records that comply with ISO 14224, that have absolutely standardized short text, long text, and we deliver those in an AIN library. So now you're able to take your brownfield data into this environment, and this is how the pieces fit together. Here you see AIN, Asset Intelligence Network, as the portal, the mechanism to get to manufacturers' data, to get to third-party libraries like Utopia. It integrates with Asset Information Workbench, as you see in the middle, as the staging area for master data built upon MDG. And it's supported by OpenText for unstructured data, and geo-enablement framework is you want to integrate GIS information. So a simple use case begins with an organization asking Utopia to help with data enrichment. We'll start with plant walk-downs, engineering drawing takeoffs, but we'll deliver that master data in an AIN content library. We then pass that into AIN for your review and approval. And upon approval, we'll build out your client-specific AIN library. So this is building that data in your master records in AIN, so you have all the strength of S4 and AIN for search. And as we move that into data structures, we'll move that through AIN into the Workbench staging area. So here you see, not in the operating system, but in the staging area, the ability to view your hierarchy as it's coming in from your brownfield data. AIN also has the ability to do what's called digital service requests. So if you have one more bit of equipment that you don't have enriched records for, you can request a digital service request from customers like Utopia, or from suppliers like Utopia. We'll enrich every individual record and deliver it through AIN. Then you're able to apply best practices. Here's the best practice library I described before. So you can now say, I have a certain type of equipment and a certain class of service. Let me take my standard maintenance plan, my standard task list, and apply that from your best practice library in the staging area. So you're seeing it all coming out enriched in the hierarchy. Then you apply your business rules, your subject matter expert sign-offs, your ability to manipulate that data in the staging area until you're comfortable with it. When you're ready to go live with this master data, the Workbench then creates multi-object change requests. So we may be creating functional locations, equipment, bills of material, maintenance plans. We may be creating hundreds or thousands of new master data objects. Those are all created in the proper order through MDG. So each of those workflows flows through perhaps even different business processes for different types of data. As that's all approved, it's then replicated into the systems of record. The right data is put in plant maintenance. The corresponding documents and drawings are put in the content management system. We can then populate engineering systems, SCADA systems as appropriate with the master data that is validated, approved, standardized in accord with your best practices, and we now have an audit trail. I know why this data is right. I know where it came from. I know who signed off on it. I know what associated documents it's associated with. And then from that point forward, if the information changes in one of the systems, it invokes a change process that flows the data back through. So if subsequently the engineering data changes, we invoke a workflow process that routes back through the system to synchronize maintenance. So if maintenance changes, engineering knows. If engineering changes, reliability knows. Your data from that forward is synchronized and maintained aligned with your as-built systems. I've covered a lot of information quickly, but I hope you see that the strength of the SAP system is it's a set of tools that are built to work together. From Asset Intelligence Network, getting external information from catalogs, from third-party suppliers, including Utopia, routing that into the Workbench for visualization, cut and paste, drag and drop, and then built on MDG so that all of the governance, workflows, business rules are in place to get the data validated, enriched, normalized into your systems of record. I appreciate your time. Mark, maybe we have time for questions.
Is there any questions for Mike or myself?
Yeah, Mike, this is Peter Hike at Valero. Can you just go back a slide? I guess my question pertains, I understand that Utopia offers a service to clean and get the data correct, but I'm still a little fuzzy on the asset information network, that if this data is going to be mapped to the network, isn't it the concept that this data will automatically be synced up with the information in the network that will feed our MDG system? Because the way you described it, I get the sense that you need constant human interaction or work to make this possible.
Good question, Peter. Utopia will deploy your data in an AIN library and then offer the possibility, upon your approval. So since it's Utopia-delivered data, we offer an approval process so that you can review and sign off on the data, and it's not complete until you sign off on it. When you do that, we move that into your particular AIN library, and it's available to you. You can share that with others or not.
And is that library, the way it shows on the slide, looks like Utopia hosts it, and it's not part of the SAP AIN network. Am I misunderstanding that?
Yes. That's the way it looks on the slide. That's not necessarily the case. We can host it, Peter, or you can put it in your environment. You can put it where you like.
No, maybe I asked the question correctly. I'm trying to understand the interface of this library with the SAP Asset Information Network.
Okay. The library is available through Asset Intelligence Network, just as you can access a vendor catalog. Exactly the same. It's another source of information that you can access as a catalog through AIN. When you use AIN today, you'll have a selection of catalogs that you've subscribed to. This will be another library that you can subscribe to in the same fashion. But it's just,
all right. I understand. All right. Thank you.
Then from that point, you can bring it in, and it is automatically brought into the system and into the staging area so that you can incorporate it in your data structures and brought forward. Probably a lot. I would invite you to see a demo, Peter. It's a lot better than PowerPoint. We're trying to put too much information into one slide. But if that didn't answer it, ask again. I'll try harder.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Other questions? Mark will provide these slides after the fact. Here you see reference information. All of the software I described is available only from SAP. These are SAP products. Here you see links to the SAP websites and downloadable information about the various software components. We're happy to support with demonstrations, with benchmarks, however you would like to get better informed about this set of SAP solutions.
Well, there's no other questions. Mike, thanks for the overview. We appreciate it very much. We look forward to hearing from you regarding this new solution. If you'd like to get into more details and have a demonstration, just let Mike or myself know. I will have these slides and post this recording so that you can have access to it. I'll send the link around to those of you who attended. So I appreciate your time today. And like I said, if you have any questions, just email us or give us a call and let us know. So if there's no other questions, we'll give you back some time today. So thank you very much for spending a half an hour with us. And Mike, great job. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
And thanks for sponsoring this, Mark. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.